Welcome back to Tarot with Katie. Today we're doing a fun reading, a fun pick a card about messages from the fairies for you. And so today we have 3 different piles here. Pile number 1. Let's see if we can bring her into focus. Is this lovely little blonde fairy with a green top and a flower petal skirt. Pile number 2 is this little red-headed fairy. She also has a flower petal skirt. And this last one, she's very sparkly. She looks more like a fairy queen or a fairy princess, perhaps. She has reddish hair. I have red hair, if you don't know, and I used to be blonde, so that's why I have these fairies. So choose between pile 1, 2, or 3 for your reading, whichever one calls out to you the most. And for this reading, why we have this theme is on top of tarot cards and the Lenormand deck, which I always use. I'm using these little fairy oracle cards called the Fairy Dust Oracle. And I never use these very often, so I thought this was a good opportunity to do so. So I'll give you a minute to pick your pile. All right, those who chose pile number 1, this little fairy right here. I want to keep her in the frame. I'll keep her right there. Okay, so what messages do the fairies have for you? Pile number 1. Start with the tarot. Okay, Page of Cups. 5 of Swords. 8 of Wands. Get to your other cards in a second. Maybe she could be right there. Okay, so definitely something coming through is your inner child. Pile number 1, this Page of Cups. When you were a child, there were things you loved to do that emotionally sparked you, that felt like magic. And it made, I'm getting this image here. I don't know why, if I normally would interpret this card like that, but this mermaid, she's holding this bowl in her hand. And it almost looks like it's steaming. It almost looks like soup, like mermaid soup. I don't think that's a thing. But it's cozy, it's comforting. So not only is this card about what you used to love for a child, but just that feeling of loving things like with your heart, like being really open emotionally because you feel safe, because you feel comfortable, because you're surrounded by the comforts of home. And the fairies are wanting you to get in touch with this energy again, because it looks like that you, as an adult, you feel like life is harsher, like life is a battlefield, like you've gotta, have your sword ready at any moment. You're like looking over your shoulder. If you get something good, have this sense of victory or winning, you're worried, like maybe that isn't a victory, maybe that's going to be taken away from me, or maybe I don't deserve it. Thoughts like that. So it's just being in a state of more conflict, waiting for war, having your swords ready. Oh, this Eight of Swords, or Eight of Wands. I'm really being called to look at this image a little bit more, so you can look at it with me. Well, I'm gonna have to hold this closer. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the fairies, they want you to move forward, and they want you to move forward with passion, you know, quickly, you know, from this state again of doing what you love. And look at this energy. There's this little being hiding in the earth, but like a little tree is growing from her, and I feel like this is your inner child, kind of being buried beneath the surface and wanting to come out again, you know, and perhaps becoming like this woman who looks more powerful, and she's blowing dandelions, her wishes, to the wind, and going after what she wishes, what she wants. And so you're kind of being urged to go through this process of letting the inner child come back out again, because the inner child is kind of like, the energy is not dormant, you know, that is this like little tree plant thing growing from this little being in the earth here. And so it's asking you to just tap into that again. Tap into the emotions of what it felt like to follow what you love, to be passionate, to go after what you wish, right? The dandelions. To perhaps do things to make yourself feel the sense of comfort you felt as a child, or maybe you know, if you didn't have a comforting childhood, what you longed for. To give yourself that, you know, to kind of nurture yourself a bit, nurture your inner child so that she can flourish, so that you can move forward more from a place of what you love and your passions and what you wish, instead of this harsh mental energy, you know, of the adult world that is so, you know, dog eat dog. Is that a saying? You know, that harshness. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to keep watching your back. They want you to move forward. Let's see what the other cards have to say. Start with the Lenormand. Okay, we have the Tower and the Bear. Wow. Yeah. You've kind of been isolating yourself, protecting yourself, right? Because of this, the harshness of the world. So, you know, you've been locking yourself in the tower, you know, being a bit of the bear, you know, protecting yourself. Definitely. But this energy could be flipped to mean something else, you know, because this card is about protection. It's about isolation. It's about being in your tower. And this energy is saying, okay, you could be like alone, you could be in your tower. I'm getting this image of how many of you have seen the Disney movie Tangled. This could even just be the fairy tale Rapunzel in general, but I'm really thinking of Tangled. In the beginning of the movie, when she's locked up in her tower, she's doing all these activities that are kind of fun. She is locked up, but she's like painting and doing all these different creative things in her tower while she's alone. So I'm getting that image. It's like, okay, if that feels safe to you right now to kind of be in your own energy and to be alone, then do the fun things, you know, do the fun things that your inner child likes, even if you're by yourself. And this card, you know, can be about overprotection, but it can also be about parenting. And so perhaps since, you know, in this card, like I said, it looks like she's having mermaid soup. If you feel unsafe, maybe you should reparent yourself a bit by doing the cozy things either your mom or dad or caretaker did for you, or the things you wish they did if you didn't get that. So, you know, if it's soup, I keep getting this, you know, it's still really hot where I live in California at this time of year, but if it's cooling down or something, or when it gets cool, if you like soup, maybe make yourself soup, or make yourself cookies, or whatever is soothing, you know, curl up on the couch with a blanket and read a book, watch a movie, maybe something from your childhood that you love, to get in touch with your heart, your core, you know, again. So do these comforting things. Reparent yourself in your isolation. See what the fairy message is. Support. Can you see that? Okay. There's always help around. When you ask, it can be found. So maybe, you know, you're feeling overprotective and you're watching your back because maybe you feel like the world and people are scary. And so this is asking you to maybe just kind of send that out there to the universe. Say, I really want support. And maybe they'll send you safe, supportive people. But this can also just be energetic support. Your guides stepping in. You know, the fairies, if you so desire. You can call on that support to help you move forward, to feel safer, to let your true self, your inner child, emerge. So I definitely think the fairies are around you if you want to tap into that kind of energy. Because yeah, your inner child, it's that playful energy coming through and supporting you, because that's going to help you move forward in your life really quickly with the 8 of Wands, once you start tapping into that. So hopefully that was helpful to you, pile number 1. I wish you all the best. I will link below my offerings and my Instagram and my Facebook in case you would like a personal reading with me. So have a good one. Bye. All right, pile number 2, those that chose this little fairy here. I'm going to set her to the side here. Let's see what messages the fairies have for you at this time. Okay, we have the 4 of Cups. King of Wands. 4 of Wands. Okay. So I see that you've been kind of bored, maybe a little bit apathetic, not sure what's going to happen next. Melancholic. You could just have been in a state of a lot of reflection, like this mermaid looking into the pool. But look at these little, the fairies, speaking of fairies, dancing in. That she can't see them because her back is turned. There's something that's going to turn around in the state where you've been potentially bored, melancholic, apathetic, or just deep in self-reflection, not knowing what's going to happen next. You know, there's this energy dancing in. Something's going to be brought to you. The King of Swords, this could be messages coming to you, someone saying something. It could also just be clarity. There's some sort of mental energy here, where all of a sudden you know, and I'm drawn to this owl as well up here. There's going to be wisdom, you know, the wisdom, the knowledge about something, the clarity is going to come through. And whatever that is, it's either about a really happy ending or it's leading to a lot of happiness. I mean, celebrations, leaping for joy. I mean, look at these deer. Once again, there's a lot of fairies. It's funny, you know, this is a fairy reading, but not all the cards in this tarot deck have fairies in them. But there's a lot. You might really feel connected to that energy. But it's like they're bringing you joy. Like you're in this state of like, oh, I don't know what's going on with my life, or I'm just deeply looking inside myself. And then they come dancing in with this joy, with this clarity, this knowledge, this communication, and it leads to leaping for joy, happiness, celebration. And also this is a 4 card, so something stable but very exciting and celebratory as well. see what the Lenormand cards are. Okay, we have the lilies and the stork. Yeah, I kind of feel like you're going to be getting news. It's a mix because the lilies can be about spiritual wisdom, and again with that owl, definitely I think you're going to be, it's going to be clicking. Something's going to be clicking. The knowledge, the wisdom about something. Maybe you're going to see something from a higher perspective. But with the stork, it kind of looks like news, you know, or something really new is being ushered in. So this looks like some sort of good news that you're going to be celebrating over, but you're also just going to see things clear from a higher perspective. You're going to have that wisdom. Let's see the fairy card that you got. Okay. The green fairy, a cheeky green fairy on your behalf is appearing here to make you laugh. So it's kind of funny. It's not like very, I don't know, it's kind of a funny card, like it said, a cheeky fairy. But I kind of get that there's like all this like little cheerful, funny little fairy energy around you. So that's definitely around you, and I think just all the energies and spirits around you, they want you to lighten up. They want you to get out of either being too deep or melancholic or bored, and they want you to jump for joy. They want you to celebrate, and so they want you to laugh more and have more fun, and they're bringing in something to make you happy because they want you to cheer up. There's lots of that little fun energy around you, so I love that, and it looks like good things are on the way. So I hope that was helpful to you, pile number 2. I will link below a page of my offerings on my Instagram and Facebook if you would like a personal reading with me. Have a good one. Okay, so for those that chose pile number 3 in this little sparkly fairy, put her off to the side here. What is the message that the fairies want you to know today? Start with the tarot. 7 of Cups, 4 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands. Okay, so it's like you're trying to move forward in life, but you don't know perhaps which direction to choose. You know, this is about deciding, you know, which way do I go? The world is my oyster. He's looking out. You know, he looks like he's on a cliff or something. And he's looking out, but you can't see what's out there. It just looks like there's a lot of light. There's a lot of possibilities, but he's not sure what's out there yet. And with 2, you know, it can be 2 choices. What choice? What do I create next? Where do I go next? And the fairies are encouraging you to be open to the possibilities with 7 of Cups. To know that, you know, if you can imagine something, then it's possible. So they want you to really tap into your imagination, to really think broad and limitless. Look at the people in this card. You know, there's, if you can see, there's these castles, you know, along this path they're going along. But then there's a castle floating up there on like a floating rock with a tree, and they would have never thought that was possible. And the one person is like, wait, look, have you seen that? And so it's like the fairies are urging you to stop looking, you know, at what spot right before your eyes so much. Start thinking of possibilities that are out of the sphere of what you usually think is possible. You know, this is really fantastical. It's a tree that's floating with a castle in a town or something. And trees are usually grounded, so this is completely illogical, right? But it's possible. In this image, it's possible. It seems so fantastical, but it's there. So the fairies really want you to be really open to opportunities and ideas and potential. Think really big. Get really into your imagination, because if you see with this card and this dragon holding on to these coins, the fairies see that you kind of, you're being a bit closed off. You're not being very open to the possibilities. You're very much focused on the material plane with the pentacles. What's right before your eyes is what I see. You know, like the people in this card, you're kind of focused on the castles on the rock, not in the sky. And yeah, your energy's just a bit blocked off. Maybe you're thinking out of, you're thinking of how to move forward from mindsets of lack. Like 4 of Pentacles can be kind of holding on to what you got because you're afraid you're going to lose it. And so the fairies don't want you to think like that. They say, you're like this dragon that's just hoarding in its den. And there are more possibilities than that. They're saying, you have these choices about how to move forward, but choose the fantasy, choose your dream come true, open up your mind, tap into the possibilities. Let's see what else is going on in this card. I'll have to look at it a bit closer. Yeah, they're like little creatures, and there even looks like a fairy person in the tree. And they're kind of watching him, like, what are you doing? And I think this is the fairy energy being like, why are you looking so close to the ground? Why are you being so fearful and just holding on to what you have and thinking, from the perspective of what you know to be true, what you've already experienced, perhaps, instead of, what you can imagine, but maybe is brand new to you never thought was true. This is all about castles in the sky. Thinking of a lot of like children's movies today in this reading, which is interesting, and I think that's the fairy energy. Thinking of, if you haven't heard of it, it's a Studio Ghibli movie, which is a Japanese animation studio. I believe it's called Castle in the Sky. It's an older one. I think it's from the 80s. But anyways, I think it's called Laputa, and it's, there's a castle in the sky and on like a floating rock. And that's what this image reminds me of. So you can watch that if you want. But yeah, think about your castles in the sky. If not that, I do think the fairies kind of want you. They don't want you to focus on the material world and reality too much. Like, they kind of want you to ditch that word reality. But that's reality. They don't want you to say that. They want you to get really into imagination and fantasy. So even if you don't watch that movie I'm talking about, perhaps watching fantasy movies, reading fantasy books, something with fantasy, just getting more into that. Using your imagination if you're a creative person to create something fantastical. Get into the element of fantasy. Don't focus on so much on reality, and that will help you make a better decision moving forward. That's just a bigger, grander possibility for you. Let's see what the other cards have to say for the morning. Okay, we have Clover, which is about luck, and we have the Snake. Yeah. This is again kind of 2 options. It's like, are you going to, believe in luck? Do you believe in luck? Or are you going to be fearful? Because the Snake is another card of fear, kind of to go with the Sword of Pentacles. About fear and lower energies. I always think when I see this card of like a snake in the grass, like sneaking up on you, and I think that's what you're afraid of. So you're like looking at the ground, right? Because you're like, but what if this happens? What if that happens? Although this is interesting, you could be looking at the ground, you could be in the grass, you could be looking for a snake, being like, oh my gosh, what if a snake comes up? What if a rattlesnake comes up and bites me? That would be horrible. Oh my gosh, I could die. Or you could be in the grass and you could be searching for clover, right? 2 different perspectives here. One, you're optimistic, right? You're like, I'm gonna find a 4-leaf clover. I'm gonna keep searching. I'm gonna find that luck. Or you could be searching for something bad and more in the fear vibration. So wow. It's such an interesting way to look at this. So choose, choose this. Choose looking for luck. Choose fantasizing about possibilities. Don't get sucked into the fear, the lack, the reality, the what you've known, the being scared, limiting yourself. It's your choices that will determine your future right now. Very card we have is celebrate. The time is right to shout out loud. Don't hesitate to jump around. So I think when you choose this energy over here, you're going to have something to celebrate. The choice you decide to move forward in, it's going to be one of celebration, of happiness. I even feel like this card is just saying get into a happy energy right now. Celebrate the little things you have. Start to get into the happier, optimistic, everything's possible energy. Instead of this, I'm getting like, throw yourself a little party and get into fantasy. So whatever that may be, maybe make yourself something sweet or get something sweet. I feel like that's very fairy-like. It could be natural sweet if you want to, like fruits and delicious fruits, or candy and stuff like that, and like something that makes you feel like you're celebrating something. And then watch fantasy or read fantasy or something like that. Like get into the realm of like there's something to celebrate and all this fantasy possibility. I don't know, that's like a fun thing to do. But Fairies are very playful, childlike energy, and it's funny, I've gotten so much in these readings today. Very childlike, playful energy. So choice is yours. Pile number 3. There's potential good times ahead. You can do it. I've been listening to an audiobooks I should say, by Neville Goddard lately, who's big on manifestation, or he was one of the like pioneers perhaps of manifestation. There's one of his books that is about the imagination. And to use that powerful tool to create your life, and how it really can create your life, and you don't need to know the how. And so that's this energy as well. If you can imagine, it can come true. Just keep imagining what you want, imagining the possibilities, and don't worry about the how. Don't get into the fear and the lack. And perhaps celebrate as if it's already here. That's something else he talks about, is feelings are really important. So perhaps use your imagination. Know that imagination is a powerful tool to create whatever you want. And then celebrate as if you already had it. Maybe that's another activity to do if you know what you want and you've used your imagination. Throw yourself some sort of like congratulatory party or something, for yourself, a little night where you're like, oh, congratulations self, you got that good thing. Play around, use your imagination, be childlike in order to manifest your desires and choose the path of possibility. So pile number 3, I hope that was helpful to you. I will link in my description a page to my offerings and my Instagram and my Facebook group if you would like a personal reading with me. Have a wonderful, magical night, pile number 3.